welcome back. I'm Coach Molly from Three Pines Leadership, and this is the Breakthrough You podcast. Thanks for joining me. Here on the Breakthrough You podcast, we like to change our lives in huge, drastic, and massively impactful ways. But we don't want to put too much energy into it. So what I've done is I've given you 52 challenges. We have a challenge every single week. That is something very small. It's a baby step to changing your life. But if you do these every single week and you do them with intent in your heart, you will make huge changes in your life. Even if you just do one of these challenges on a regular basis, you'll see change. But I promise you, if you start layering these challenges on top of each other, you'll start seeing change in your life in areas you never thought were possible. We talk about setting our goals first. That is the first thing we always do. And there's 3 different areas that you can set your goals in. The first would be our health. So that would be how our body feels. Do we have enough energy? How are we feeding our body? The second area would be wealth, or looking at our income, our career, all of that kind of stuff. And then the third area is our relationship. So how we relate to others, our loved ones, our not as loved ones, our family, our friends, our coworkers, our community at large. So once we understand that we can set goals in all 3 of these areas, I recommend setting a goal for each area and revisiting them on a regular basis. And that way you can actually see that you've made improvement. And some of these challenges here on the Breakthrough You podcast are designed to help you understand where your baseline is. A few weeks back, we did one where we were looking at the food that we were taking into our body. So understanding what we're putting into our body, we need to understand that baseline in order to figure out what improvements can we make. What little tiny 5-minute improvements can we make that are going to have that huge difference? So today's challenge is going to help you in all of these areas because it's, again, one of those baseline challenges. One of those challenges where you might think that it's not going to make a big difference, but when you actually see the data, that's when you can actually start chiseling away and getting back to the root of what is important. So this week's challenge is to limit your use of electronic devices. I know, I can hear so many people yelling at their devices right now. If you find that you watch a lot of TV, well, there's a great chance that your life could be a lot better. TV is convenient, absolutely. It's a convenient form of entertainment, but it accomplishes very little beyond that, to be honest. And the same goes for playing games on your phone or just surfing the internet or diving into social media. Add up how many hours you actually spend in front of your devices every day. And then figure out what you could be doing with that time instead. So there are apps that you can... Sorry, I just figured that out. There are apps that you can use on your devices to measure how much screen time you have on certain apps. Certain social media apps, for example, are quite common. But you can set this up so that you can figure out how much time are you spending on social media versus watching Netflix versus reading your emails and doing actual work-related work on your devices. Once you have that baseline, once you figure out what your daily or weekly allotted time on these devices is, you can figure out, well, should I be spending 30 hours a week on my devices? What could I do with that time instead? And then if you actually need entertainment, find something that has additional benefits. So, for example, instead of just watching sports on TV, why don't you go out and play basketball with a friend? This way, you're not only getting the exercising, but you're also able to socialize with your people. Reading a book, for example. Reading a nonfiction book not only will help you decrease your stress and enjoy that reading time, but it's also going to increase your level of knowledge. Gives you something else that you can talk about with people. It's going to stimulate your brain in a different way than if you were just passively consuming social media, for example. One of my favorite things is to garden. And I do that because not only does it beautify my space, but it also, because I I think of myself as a suburban farmer, it also provides me with nutritious food. Yeah, it's so different once you start changing what you do with your time, but you can't figure that out unless you have the baseline to begin with. So I challenge you. Figure out how much time you're spending just passively watching TV or passively consuming social media or plugged into whatever video game you're playing these days. I'm not saying you have to get rid of all of that time. What I'm saying is, can you use that time better? Is maybe there 1 or 2 shows out there that you absolutely love, and then you're spending 3 or 4 hours a day watching shows you really don't care about, or flipping through the menu, or staring at the Netflix screen trying to figure out what you're actually going to watch. When we go into our entertainment with intent, we're able to get a lot more enjoyment out of it. So look for ways to have more variety in your entertainment. Look for ways to turn off those devices. And I want you to think of it this way. We talk about consuming the right kinds of fuel and foods for our body, right? So if we think about our brains, electronic devices end up becoming like the junk food and the convenience food in entertainment form. So think about that. If you're feeding your brain junk all the time, well, it's going to slow down. It's not going to give you the best answers. It's not going to be as quick as it used to be. It might just fall into repeating the behaviors that you're watching in reality TV. On the other hand, if you start thinking about the entertainment that you're putting into your brain as also fueling your brain, start looking for things that are going to stimulate you, that are entertaining, that are exciting to you, that you really want to watch, rather than just allocating time to be relaxing on the couch. You know what I mean? So I know this is going to be tricky for some people, but I love you, I encourage you, I'm here for you, I see you, and I got your back. So reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at Coach Molly with an E. On Instagram at 3_pines_leadership. On Facebook at 3 Pines or at Visibility Hackers in our group there. Or you can just send me an email, admin@3pinesleadership.com. I really want to know how this challenge is going for you. So that's it for this week, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Coach Molly from 3 Pines Leadership, and this is the Breakthrough You podcast. Thank you again for spending this part of your day with me. Now go turn off your devices. I will see you next week. Until then, remember, I love you. Be excellent to each other.